to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Do you ever feel jealous, angry, or insecure in your relationship? My name's Adam, and the client I worked with in this particular session had agreed to an open relationship, and that open relationship had certain clear expectations and rules to make it work for both sides, and that was that the relationship couldn't be a long-term thing. Any other relationship outside of their core relationship had to be short-term, and feelings couldn't get involved. And with them, their partner changed that and started seeing someone else on a regular basis. And that was leading to feelings of jealousy, insecurity, and anger that something had changed, that they were doing something that they weren't also doing, that they respected the rules and their partner didn't. Now, they didn't want to end the relationship. They wanted to keep the relationship. They just wanted the feelings of jealousy and insecurity and anger to go down. And what this session does is an element of disassociating from the intense states of anger and jealousy and associating into states like acceptance and nonchalance and ambivalence. And the analogy here for this particular client is that they would feel completely neutral if their partner said they want to work out, an extra night a week. They would feel completely neutral with that. But they didn't feel that same way if they said that they wanted to spend some time with someone else. This is all about reconnecting with an empowering emotion that would work for that individual. Now, although this relates to open relationships and kind of other people, at the core, it is about accessing and harnessing a resource state that works for the individual. So these dynamics don't have to be going on in your relationship in order for you to feel how you want to feel. But obviously, because it was with a client in this situation, some of the suggestions are quite specific. Some of the emotional or the resource states are quite specific. So ignore any suggestions that aren't relevant for you. Hone into the ones that are. And if you like the idea of a bespoke session to deal specifically with your situation, in the description, there's going to be a link for you to schedule a completely free consultation call. We'll have a chat, and it might be that we can work together and I help you for your situation. In the meantime, you might find some value from this. It uses principles of nested loops, levels of disassociation, but then also staged disassociation. And that is disassociated from a resource state and then associated into a resource state. So I hope you get some value from that. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel a sense of release of any tension, any stress, any worries. Start to feel it leave your body as you exhale. Each breath taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. I want you to feel an increasing feeling of calm and relaxation. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. That's it. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine a place in nature, perhaps a beach, a forest, maybe the kind of forest with bright, vibrant greens. That specific shade of green that you see in nature. And I want you to imagine there in that place, there on the ground, is something strange. A spiral staircase leading down through the floor. Logically, you know, this can't happen. You can't have a spiral staircase there on the floor of nature. And yet there it is. And just allow this to serve the same function as the rabbit hole for Alice in Wonderland. A portal to a place of change and new experiences. To make a change in an area that is causing you emotional pain. Imagine standing at the top of that spiral staircase with the idea that it leads down to your own private cinema. A cinema beneath the floor of nature. And as I count down from 10 to 1, you will imagine descending the spiral staircase into your own private cinema. And with each step down the staircase, you will find yourself drifting deeper and deeper relaxed, like you're accessing a different part of your mind where profound change is possible. 10, taking that first step. 9, another step down, feeling more relaxed now. Loosen your neck and your shoulders. Release any tension in your jaw. That's it. 9 becomes 8, even more relaxed, and then 7. That's it. Descending into your own private cinema. 6. And then 5, halfway down the spiral staircase. Notice how you can breathe deeper. Maybe you can notice your arms and legs feeling limp, loose, or heavy. That's it. And then 4, another step down the staircase. 3, deeper still. 2, feel a lightness in your chest. Almost feel like your head is light like a helium balloon. 2 becomes 1 and then 0. Just imagine arriving now in your own private cinema. You have this cinema all to yourself. And I want you to imagine you pick the most comfy chair possible there in that cinema. And on the cinema screen, I want you to observe yourself initially in response to a question. Maybe a question of something that creates a neutral, even a positive response. Maybe your partner asking if it's okay if he works out at a particular time, and just see your reaction. Calm, neutral, indifferent, nonchalant, unfazed, unbothered. And I want you to imagine floating into the screen and feeling that way, just so you know how it feels in response to a question, to feel completely neutral and indifferent, and then float back to that comfy chair. And I want you to see a different memory, a 2-week period where certain questions were being asked, and for that period in time you were fine with it. And I want you to see yourself like an actress out there on the screen and just see your body language, your breathing, your facial expressions. And in that moment, see yourself with a different internal strategy, a different recipe, that for that period of time, things were fine. And that's because the evaluations and the meaning you gave something allowed those feelings. And if you can see yourself on that screen being fine, even when a certain question is being asked, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine floating into the screen, embodying that version of you. Notice how you breathe. Notice the meaning you gave things. Notice a feeling of reassurance you have. The frame that there is no threat here, no big deal. Imagine the question being asked, and you're fine with it. And if this feels like you're reawakening how to be that way, just notice how you breathe. Notice what you focus on, the meanings you give things. And if you feel this is a preferable way of handling a situation, irrespective of how long it lasts, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. As you remind yourself, there is nothing you have to do, only things you are choosing to do. But there is a difference between choosing to do something reluctantly and choosing to do something willingly. Choosing to do something reluctantly means you get the worst of both worlds. The thing still happens, and you have those disempowering emotions. But when you make the same choice willingly, the thing still happens, but there is an absence of those disempowering emotions. Return back to that comfy chair in the cinema, and I want you to imagine either seeing that same version of you totally fine, or, if your mind prefers, a clone, an identical twin that would be completely unbothered and unfazed. And I want you to see certain qualities in that future version of you. Accepting, confident, unbothered. No need for anger or frustration or anything at all. And I want you to imagine seeing that version of you, a cloned version of you with a different way of thinking, perhaps 1 week from now. And I want you to see a question being asked and see that version of you completely unfazed, unbothered. Tone of voice, posture, no different than if they were asked if it's okay to go to the gym for a longer workout or try swimming in a new pool. See yourself completely unfazed. And when you can see that future version of you like that, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want want you to drift back into the screen. 1 week further, a similar question is being asked. But now imagine from a first-person perspective. Imagine being that clone or that version of you that could not care less. It's just information. Maybe it's framed like recreation. Something of low significance and certainly no threat. As you come to the conclusion that no one is better or worse, they're just different. Nobody can compete with you because you are uniquely you. What you've built over these years would take someone else the same time to build the same thing, and nobody can compete with that. And I want you to imagine that they ask the question and you respond in a way that is empowered, that it strengthens the relationship, doesn't weaken it. It reassures you because there is no secrecy, things are being communicated. I want you to connect with that feeling of, if communication is connection, then there is connection. I want you to feel that the way of spelling love is T-I-M-E. Where does that person spend their time with? And I want you to get a feeling that when you change the frame, the narrative, and the meaning, even intense emotions can dial all the way down, giving space for new emotions, empowering emotions. Jump forward a month from now. Imagine a similar kind of question and feel how you would feel if it was no big deal. And when you get a sense that you're building, training, or reactivating certain neural pathways that would be useful for you, just imagine your mind rippling through space and time, backwards and forwards. So even thinking about certain things leads you to feel connected, loved, and reassured. Consider insecurities like false friends. Sometimes a false friend would try and stir trouble by putting certain thoughts in people's minds. And you don't need that. So allow those insecurities to have a different meaning. And instead remind yourself, nobody can be you. And nobody can build what you've built. And as you connect with that feeling of self-assurance, of self-acceptance, then float back into the cinema and just imagine seeing a montage where your relationship gets better and better and better through acceptance, freedom, and understanding. It's time to leave this cinema, but you're left feeling more like your clone and less like that insecure, anxious version of you that wasn't serving you anyway. That isn't you. That's your fears. And nobody can build something beautiful when fear takes hold. So leave that fearful part behind, and you leave that cinema empowered, confident, full of self-assurance. Nobody can compete with you because nobody is you. Imagine climbing back up that spiral staircase, finding yourself in that place in nature, but feeling re-emerged as that confident, assured version of you. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10, and you will return again as that confident version of you, being able to turn down the noise of those insecurities and dial up the volume on that version of you that exudes confidence and acceptance. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.